Hey guys, Sam from Manfa's Makes. Happy Sunday. I hope your weekend has been so super enjoyable for you all. Mine has. I have actually had a full weekend off. Well, I had a staff meeting Saturday morning, but other than that, I have had a weekend off. In fact, I have had a whole week and a weekend off, and I'm not due back until Tuesday, so yay! Welcome back to all my returners, and hi to any newbies. If you are new here, thank you so much. I am so grateful that you have decided to come and check me out. If you are new here though, Saturdays and Sundays are a little different here on Manfa's Makes. A lot of people like to listen to audiobooks while they craft, and I decide to read you stories from this book here, which is Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. Slight disclaimer, they are a little weird. They are um, maybe a little outdated. They were written hundreds of years ago, and I'm literally just reading you the words from the pages, guys. I am not saying that I support or condone any themes or hidden messages. I am literally just reading you the stories to give you something to listen to while you craft. And also, it means that I'm going to be looking down at my table, which my book is on. You don't even have to be watching what I'm doing because this is literally just a listening video. So, hope you enjoy it. There is a complete playlist on my channel, and there is also the Wizard of Oz that I read, and lots of other yarny crochet goodness in my channel, so please do go and have a look around. All my returners, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming back time after time. You know I do. Love you all loads. Okay, so it's still October. It is still Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Wearing pink, as that is the colour of breast cancer ribbon. Myself and a lot of other content creators are wearing our pink hats to remind you to go and get your girls checked and to get your mammograms, because a few minutes of discomfort, you know, for early detection will prevent a lot worse further down the line. So go and be uncomfortable, but then you'll be hopefully a-okay, and that is all we care about, guys. We just want you to be healthy, safe and happy. So go and get yourself sorted. Thank you very much. So we start our stories today on story 115, and it is called The Bright Sun Brings It to Light. A tailor's apprentice was travelling about the world in search of work, and at one time he could find none, and his poverty was so great that he had not a farthing to live on. Presently he met a Jew on the road, and as he thought he would have a great deal of money about him, the tailor thrust God out of his heart, fell on the Jew, and said, "Give me your money, or I will strike you dead." Then said the Jew, "Grant me my life, I have no money but 8 farthings." But the tailor said, "Money you have, and it shall be produced," and used violence, and beat him until he was near death. And when the Jew was dying, the last words he said were, "The bright sun will bring it to light," and thereupon he died. The tailor's apprentice felt in his pockets and sought for money, but he found nothing but 8 farthings, as the Jew had said. Then he took him up and carried him behind a clump of trees, and went onwards to seek work. After he had travelled about a long while, he got work in a town with a master who had a pretty daughter, with whom he fell in love, and he married her and lived in good and happy wedlock. After a long time, when he and his wife had 2 children, the wife's father and mother died, and the young people kept house alone. One morning, when the husband was sitting on the table before the window, his wife brought him his coffee, and when he had poured it out into the saucer and was just going to drink, the sun shone on it, and the reflection gleamed here and there on the wall above and made circles on it. Then the tailor looked up and said, "Yes, it would like very much to bring it to light, and cannot." The woman said, "Oh, dear husband, what is that then? What do you mean by that?" He answered, "I must not tell you." But she said, "If you love me, you must tell me," and used her most affectionate words, and said that no one should ever know it, and left him no rest. Then he told her how years ago, when he was travelling about seeking work, and quite worn out and penniless, he had killed a Jew, and that in the last agonies of death the Jew had spoken the words, "The bright sun will bring it to light." And now the sun had just wanted to bring it to light, and had gleamed and made circles on the wall, but had not been able to do it. After this he again charged her particularly never to tell this, or he would lose his life, and she did promise. When, however, he had sat down to work again, she went to her great friend and confided the story to her, but she was never to repeat it to any human being. But before 2 days were over, the whole town knew it, and the tailor was brought to trial and condemned. And thus, after all, the bright sun did bring it to light. Okay, the next story is story 116, and it is The Blue Light. There was once on a time a soldier who for many years had served the king faithfully, but when the war came to an end could serve no longer because of the many wounds which he had received. The king said to him, "You may return to your home, I need you no longer, and you will not receive any more money, for he only receives wages who renders me service for them." Then the soldier did not know how to earn a living, went away greatly troubled, and walked the whole day, until in the evening he entered a forest. When darkness came on, he saw a light, which he went up to, and came to a house where a witch lived. Excuse me a second. Sorry guys, back again. I heard such a strange noise and I went to investigate, and then I realised it's my cat snoring on the chair just opposite me. So I do apologise. Let's get back to the story. When darkness came on, he saw a light, which he went up to, and came to a house where a witch lived. "Do give me one night's lodging and a little to eat and drink," said he to her, "or I shall starve." "Oh ho," she answered, "who gives anything to a runaway soldier? Yet I will be compassionate and take you in, if you will do what I wish." "What do you wish?" said the soldier. "That you should dig all round my garden for me tomorrow." The soldier consented, and next day laboured with all his strength, but could not finish it by the evening. "I see well enough," said the witch, "that you can do no more today, but I will keep you yet another night, in payment for which you must tomorrow chop me a load of wood and make it small." The soldier spent the whole day in doing it, and in the evening the witch proposed that he should stay one more night. "Tomorrow you shall only do me a very trifling piece of work. Behind my house there is an old dry well, into which my light has fallen. It burns blue and never goes out, and you shall bring it up again for me." Next day the old woman took him to the well and let him down in a basket. He found the blue light and made her a signal to draw him up again. She did draw him up, but when he came near the edge she stretched down her hand and wanted to take the blue light away from him. "No," said he, perceiving her evil intention, "I will not give you the light until I am standing with both feet upon the ground." The witch fell into a passion, let him down again into the well, and went away. The poor soldier fell without injury on the moist ground, and the blue light went on burning. But of what use was that to him? He saw very well that he could not escape death. He sat for a while very sorrowfully, then suddenly he felt in his pocket and found his tobacco pipe, which was still half full. "This shall be my last pleasure," thought he, pulled it out, lit it at the blue light, and began to smoke. When the smoke had circled about the cavern, suddenly a little black dwarf stood before him and said, "Lord, what are your commands?" "What commands have I to give you?" replied the soldier, quite astonished. "I must do everything you bid me," said the dwarf. "Good," said the soldier, "then in the first place help me out of this well." The dwarf took him by the hand and led him through an underground passage, but he did not forget to take the blue light with him. On the way the dwarf showed him the treasures which the witch had collected and hidden there, and the soldier took as much gold as he could carry. When he was above, he said to the dwarf, "Now go and bind the old witch and carry her before the judge." In a short time she, with frightful cries, came riding by as swift as the wind on a wild tomcat, and not long after that the dwarf reappeared. "It is all done," said he, "and the witch is already hanging on the gallows. What further commands does my lord have?" inquired the dwarf. "At this moment none," answered the soldier. "You can return home, only be at hand immediately if I summon you. Nothing more is needed than that you should light your pipe at the blue light, and I will appear before you at once." Thereupon he vanished from his sight. The soldier returned to the town from which he had come. He went to the best inn, ordered himself handsome clothes, and then bade the landlord furnish him a room as handsomely as possible. When it was ready and the soldier had taken possession of it, he summoned the little black dwarf and said, "I have served the king faithfully, but he has dismissed me and left me to hunger, and now I want to take my revenge." "What am I to do?" asked the dwarf. "Late at night, when the king's daughter is in bed, bring her here in her sleep. She shall do servant's work for me." The dwarf said, "That is an easy thing for me to do, but a very dangerous thing for you, for if it is discovered you will fare ill." When 12 o'clock had struck, the door sprang open, and the dwarf carried in the princess. "Aha, are you there?" cried the soldier. "Get to your work at once. Fetch the broom and sweep the chamber." When she had done this, he ordered her to come to his chair, and then he stretched out his feet and said, "Pull off my boots for me." And then he threw them in her face and made her pick them up again, and clean and brighten them. She, however, did everything he bade her without opposition, silently and with half-shut eyes. When the first cock crowed, the dwarf carried her back to the royal palace and laid her in her bed. Next morning, when the princess arose, she went to her father and told him that she had had a very strange dream. "I was carried through the streets with the rapidity of lightning," said she, "and taken into a soldier's room, and I had to wait upon him like a servant, sweep his room, clean his boots, and do all kinds of menial work. It was only a dream, and yet I am just as tired as if I really had done everything." "The dream may have been true," said the king. "I will give you a piece of advice. Fill your pocket full of peas and make a small hole in it, and then if you are carried away again they will fall out and leave a track in the streets." But unseen by the king, the dwarf was standing beside him when he said that, and heard all. At night, when the sleeping princess was again carried through the streets, some peas certainly did fall out of her pocket, but they made no track, for the crafty dwarf had just before scattered peas in every street there was, and again the princess was compelled to do servant's work until the cock crowed. Next morning the king sent his people out to seek the track, but it was all in vain, for in every street poor children were sitting, picking up peas and saying, "It must have rained peas last night." "We must think of something else," said the king. "Keep your shoes on when you go to bed, and before you come back from the palace where you are taken, hide one of them there. I will soon contrive to find it." The black dwarf heard this plot, and at night, when the soldier again ordered him to bring the princess, revealed it to him, and told him that he knew of no expedient to counteract this stratagem, and that if the shoe was found in the soldier's house it would go badly with him. "Do what I bid you," replied the soldier, and again this third night the princess was obliged to work like a servant, but before she went away she hid her shoe under the bed. Next morning the king had the entire town searched for his daughter's shoe. It was found at the soldier's, and the soldier himself, who at the entreaty of the dwarf had gone outside the gate, was soon back again and thrown into prison. In his flight he had forgotten the most valuable things he had, the blue light and the gold, and had only 1 ducat in his pocket. And now, loaded with chains, he was standing at the window of his dungeon, when he chanced to see one of his comrades passing by. The soldier tapped at the pane of glass, and when this man came up, said to him, "Be so kind as to fetch me the small bundle I have left lying in the inn, and I will give you 1 ducat for doing it." His comrade ran there and brought him what he wanted. As soon as the soldier was alone again, he lighted his pipe and summoned the black dwarf. "Have no fear," said the latter to his master. "Go wherever they take you, and let them do what they will, only take the blue light with you." The next day the soldier was tried, and though he had done nothing wicked, the judge condemned him to death. When he was led forth to die, he begged a last favour of the king. "What is it?" asked the king. "That I may smoke 1 more pipe on my way." "You may smoke 3," answered the king, "but do not imagine that I will spare your life." Then the soldier pulled out his pipe and lighted it at the blue light, and as soon as a few wreaths of smoke had ascended, the dwarf was there with a small cudgel in his hand, and said, "What does my lord command?" "Strike down to earth that false judge there and his constable, and spare not the king who has treated me so ill." Then the dwarf fell on them like lightning, darting this way and that way, and whoever was so much as touched by his cudgel fell to earth and did not venture to stir again. The king was terrified. He threw himself on the soldier's mercy, and merely to be allowed to live at all, gave him his kingdom for his own and the princess to marry. Okay, a super short one, which is story 117, The Willful Child. Once upon a time there was a child who was willful and would not do as her mother wished. For this reason God had no pleasure in her and let her become ill, and no doctor could do her any good, and in a short time she lay on her deathbed. When she had been lowered into her grave and the earth was spread over her, all at once her arm came out again and stretched upwards, and when they had put it in and spread fresh earth over it, it was all to no purpose, for the arm always came out again. Then the mother herself was obliged to go to the grave and strike the arm with a rod, and when she had done that it was drawn in, and then at last the child had rest beneath the ground. That was Okay, and the last story for today, because I would like you all to enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I have plans on how to enjoy the rest of mine. Story 118, The Three Army Surgeons. Three army surgeons who thought they knew their art perfectly were travelling about the world, and they came to an inn where they wanted to pass the night. The host asked whence they came from and where they were going. "We are roaming about the world and practising our art. Just show me for once what you can do," said the host. Then the first said he would cut off his own hand and put it on again early next morning. The second said he would tear out his heart and replace it next morning. The third said he would cut out his eyes and heal them again next morning. "If you can do that," said the innkeeper, "you have learned everything." They, however, had a salve with which they rubbed themselves, which joined parts together, and they carried the little bottle in which it was constantly with them. Then they cut the hand, heart, and eyes from their bodies, as they had said they would, and laid them all together on a plate and gave it to the innkeeper. The innkeeper gave it to a servant who was to set it in the cupboard and take good care of it. The girl, however, had a lover in secret who was a soldier. When therefore the innkeeper, the three army surgeons, and everyone else in the house were asleep, the soldier came and wanted something to eat. The girl opened the cupboard and brought him some food, and in her love forgot to shut the cupboard door again. She seated herself at the table by her lover, and they chatted away together. While she sat so contentedly there, thinking of no ill luck, the cat came creeping in, found the cupboard open, took the hand and heart and eyes of the three army surgeons, and ran off with them. When the soldier had done eating, and the girl was taking away the things and going to shut the cupboard, she saw that the plate which the innkeeper had given her to take care of was empty. Then she said in a fright to her lover, "Oh, miserable girl, what shall I do? The hand is gone, the heart and the eyes are gone too. What will become of me in the morning?" "Be easy," said he, "I will keep you out of your trouble. There is a thief hanging outside on the gallows. I will cut off his hand." Which hand was it? The right one. Then the girl gave him a sharp knife, and he went and cut the poor sinner's right hand off and brought it to her. After this he caught the cat and cut its eyes out, and now nothing but the heart was wanting. Have you not been slaughtering, and are not the dead pigs in the cellar?" said he. "Yes," said the girl. "That's well," said the soldier, and he went down and fetched a pig's heart. The girl placed all together on the plate and put it in the cupboard, and when after this her lover took leave of her, she went quietly to bed. In the morning, when the three army surgeons got up, they told the girl she was to bring them the plate on which the hand, heart, and eyes were lying. Then she brought it out of the cupboard, and the first fixed the thief's hand on and smeared it with his salve, and it grew to his arm directly. The second took the cat's eyes and put them in his own head. The third fixed the pig's heart firm in the place where his own had been, and the innkeeper stood by, admired their skill, and said he had never yet seen such a thing as that done, and would sing their praises and recommend them to everyone. Then they paid their bill and travelled further. As they were on their way, the one with the pig's heart did not stay with them at all, but wherever there was a corner he ran to it and rooted about in it with his nose as pigs do. The others wanted to hold him back by the tail of his coat, but that did no good. He tore himself loose and ran wherever the dirt was thickest. The second also behaved very strangely. He rubbed his eyes and said to the others, "Comrades, what is the matter? I don't see at all. Will one of you lead me so that I do not fall?" Then with difficulty they travelled on till evening, when they reached another inn. They went into the bar together, and there at a table in the corner sat a rich man counting money. The one with the thief's hand walked round about him, made a sudden movement twice with his arm, and at last, when the stranger turned away, he snatched at the pile of money and took a handful from it. One of them saw this and said, "Comrade, what are you about? You must not steal. Shame on you." Said he, "but how can I stop myself? My hand twitches, and I am forced to snatch things whether I want to or not." After this they lay down to sleep, and while they were lying there it was so dark that no one could see his own hand. All at once the one with the cat's eyes awoke, aroused the others, and said, "Brothers, just look up. Do you see the white mice running about there?" The two sat up but could see nothing. Then said he, "Things are not right with us. We have not got back again what is ours. We must return to the innkeeper. He has deceived us." They went back, therefore, the next morning, and told the host they had not got what was their own again, that the first had a thief's hand, the second cat's eyes, and the third a pig's heart. The innkeeper said that the girl must be to blame for that and was going to call her, but when she had seen the three come in, she had run out by the back door and not come back. Then the three said he must give them a great deal of money or they would set his house on fire. He gave them what he had and whatever he could get together, and the three went away with it. It was enough for the rest of their lives, but they would rather have had their own proper organs. So guys, those are your stories for today. I hope the rest of your Sunday goes absolutely magnificently and you do get some quality crafting time in, as that is what weekends are for, right? I will of course be back every day this week as normal with various content for you guys to enjoy. Thank you for coming back time after time. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, so until the next video, stay safe, be kind, look after one another, get some good quality time with your loved ones and get some good quality crafting time in. I will see you in the next one or around the YouTube streets. Bye guys, love you. Bye.